Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the prophet and founder of Islam. Most of his early life was spent as a merchant. At age 40, he began to have revelations from Allah that became the basis for the Quran and the foundation of Islam. By 630, he had unified most of Arabia under a single religion.
How? History of World.
Muhammad, peace be upon him, was born around the year 570 CE to the Banu Hashim clan of the Quraysh tribe, one of Mecca's prominent families. His father, Abdullah, died almost 6 months before Muhammad was born. According to Islamic tradition, Muhammad was sent to live with a Bedouin family in the desert, as desert life was considered healthier for infants. Muhammad, peace be upon him, stayed with his foster mother, Halima bint Abi Dwaib, and her husband until he was 2 years old. At the age of 6, Muhammad, peace be upon him, lost his biological mother, Amina, to illness and was raised by his paternal grandfather, Abd al-Muttalib, until he died when Muhammad was 8. He then came under the care of his uncle, Abu Talib, the new leader of Banu Hashim. While still in his teens, Muhammad accompanied his uncle on trading journeys to Syria, gaining experience in commercial trade, which was the only career open to him as an orphan. Tradition states that when Muhammad, peace be upon him, was either 9 or 12 while accompanying a caravan to Syria, he met a Christian monk or hermit named Bahira, who is said to have foreseen Muhammad's career as a prophet of God. In his 20s, he worked for a very wealthy lady called Khadijah. Despite his young age, she was drawn to how accomplished and trustworthy he was. She proposed to him and they got married in 595, starting a very happy marriage. They had 6 children together, but none of them made it to adulthood except for Fatima az-Zahra, who grew old to be one of the most important people in Islamic history. He taught women a lot about their religion and how to do good deeds, and she reported lots of quotes from her father, peace be upon him, in order to spread his teachings among Muslims, especially after he passed away. In 610, Muhammad, peace be upon him, received Allah's revelation when he was 40, when he was meditating in a mountain called Jabal al-Nur in Mecca. He heard the words of Allah relayed by the angel Gabriel, who appeared and started to say,
اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم.
For the next 23 years, Muhammad continued to receive Allah's message to mankind through the Quran, the final and complete book. When he revealed his message in 613, he faced lots of mockery and abuse. The ruling tribe of Mecca, Quraysh, imposed a trade ban on Muhammad's followers, subjecting them to near-famine conditions. Due to harsh conditions imposed by Quraysh in 622, Allah ordered the Prophet to migrate from Mecca to Yathrib, which was the oasis town where his father was buried. Leaders there were suffering through a vicious civil war, and they'd invited this man, well known for his wisdom, to act as their mediator. Yathrib soon became known as Medina, the city of the Prophet. Muhammad remained here for the next 6 years, building the first Muslim community and gradually gathering more and more people to his side. During 625 to 628, Muhammad, peace be upon him, raised a military in Medina which fought against the Meccans in 3 separate battles, in which the Muslims won the first, the Battle of Bayr, March 624, lost the second and outlasted the third, the Battle of the Trench and the Siege of Medina, April 627. March 628, a treaty was signed between the 2 sides, which recognized the Muslims as a new force in Arabia and gave them freedom to move unmolested throughout Arabia. Meccan allies breached the treaty a year later. By 630, the balance of power had shifted radically away from once powerful Mecca towards Muhammad and the Muslims. In January 630, they marched on Mecca and were joined by tribe after tribe along the way. They entered Mecca without bloodshed, and the Meccans, seeing the tide had turned, joined them, Muhammad returned to live in Medina. In the next 3 years, he consolidated most of the Arabian Peninsula under Islam. In March 632, he returned to Mecca one last time to perform the pilgrimage, and tens of thousands of Muslims joined him. For the pilgrimage, he returned to Medina. 3 months later, on June 8632, he died there after a brief illness. He is buried in the mosque in Medina. Within 100 years, Muhammad's teaching and way of life had spread from the remote corners of Arabia as far east as Indochina and as far west as Morocco, France, and Spain.